back to the Groom Podcast. My name is Massimo and Stefano. We are here at the lovely Franklin Theater in downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We are back with another guest, 2 in a row.
Yes.
We did that. Who are you? To my right? In the fancy shirt. I like
Thank
it.
you. I'm wearing
vacation?
this shirt.
Like, what?
No, I'm wearing this shirt in an ode to Love Island. If you're watching Love Island, you know. I'm not going to get too into it. It's just a great show.
And I'm not going to say anything about it except that I don't watch Love Island.
It's just pure drama, and I'm obsessed.
And my life is okay without Love Island. That's all I'm going to say.
But I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah,
Good,
it's finally some good weather.
Nothing new. Just Love Island.
Just working in Love Island. That's honestly about my life right now. Yeah.
Okay, well, we got a great guest today. I've known him for a couple years now just because of a connection here at the theater, actually.
Yeah.
Like most of our guests, which is okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to read this little bio here, and hopefully I can get through it.
Oh my
Yes.
God, where did you get this, man? Jeez.
I now warn every guest when he does this. He has a hard time with words, so
I do.
he'll go through and pick certain bad ones and really digest them,
Versatility.
really intake them before he says them, so.
Electrifying. Electrifying.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that's an
Say some last
AI.
names. Give us some last names.
Is it Neville? Neville Brothers? Is that how you say it?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Now, do you know about the Neville brothers?
Not much.
Ooh.
No. Okay, we can
One
get
day
into
we'll
that.
talk about that.
Okay.
When
Okay.
You know, bass and drums, me and you. Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'll get through this. Okay.
Yes.
David Santos is a powerhouse bassist whose groove has fueled the sound of rock, pop, soul, and country royalty. A world-class musician with an electrifying stage presence and unmatched versatility. David has toured and recorded with some of the most iconic names in music history, such as Billy Joel, Elton John, John Fogerty, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Taylor Swift, the Neville Brothers, Melissa Etheridge, Faith Hill, Tim McGraw, Toto, and so many more. He sent me a crazy list the other day. Known primarily as a dynamic touring artist, David's deep pocket feel and musical intuition have made him a go-to session player as well. His bass lines have pulsed through sold-out stadiums, late-night TV spots, and platinum-selling records, bringing fire and finesse to every note. This is really good.
Yeah.
Did you write this?
No, that's totally not me.
This is so good.
This deserves an Emmy.
That's AI.
Beyond the stage, David is a passionate music educator, songwriter, and producer, constantly inspiring the next generation of players. His creative vision extends into the studio as the founder of Leia Groove Records, where he has recently released 3 acclaimed jazz and blues albums showcasing his artistry and sonic storytelling. To explore music, there's a link I'll put in the description of the video. He put it here. Whether holding down the low end for legends or leading his own musical adventures, David Santos continues to shape the sound of modern music one forgettable groove at a time. Oh, modern music, one forgettable groove at a time. Okay.
There's always
forgettable-
one.
One
There's always
unforgettable.
one.
One
It's so
forgettable
close.
groove at a time.
Yeah. Everyone's forgettable. Yeah.
That
Music,
is
one
perfect.
As
unforgettable
much as
groove
you
at a
get,
time.
it's all forgettable. Don't
It's
worry.
all forgettable. That's a good way to cover for him. That's good. It's all forgettable. It's
can't.
all forgettable.
Please welcome to the podcast,
Yes.
David Santos.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's crazy.
How you doing, David?
There's always one word.
Yeah.
There's always
Good.
one word.
I was so close.
You were right at the end.
You want to take that again?
No,
whole thing
if I go
again?
again, I'll butcher it. Oops.
Okay. I didn't write that.
No?
No. When you asked for a bio, I went to AI and typed my name in
No way.
last night.
Nice.
That's it.
Awesome.
That's what that was. That's great.
Sorry to say,
That's awesome.
I didn't spend any time on it.
Oh,
That's
all right.
okay.
But
I liked it.
there's enough there.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thank you for having me. By the
yeah,
way.
no.
I appreciate you both.
Yeah.
yeah, you were just here for a Neil Diamond tribute,
Twilight Train.
That was amazing.
and it just
Yeah.
happened to come up, and we were just like, how about like 3 days from now, or whatever, or a week from now? It was like
How
just
about
worked
a week
out.
later? Yeah.
It was great.
Neil Diamond, man, what a wonderful artist that guy.
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah.
Great tunes. Yeah.
Just great.
That tribute band you're playing with, is that did you love Neil Diamond before then, or is
Oh,
that something you're discovering when
That's
you're
a
playing
good
with
question. Can I go into it, or you want to keep moving?
Go
for it.
Oh, back in New York, I remember one time with a bunch of great musicians on stage backing up singers. The MD walked over, and there was a Neil Diamond tune that we were having to learn. And I said, "Man, I love Neil Diamond." And he said, "All right, get out of here." I said, "No, man. No, I really love Neil. You haven't checked out Neil Diamond then."
Yeah.
He was like, oh, man, that's that cornball stuff. I said, no, man, that stuff is the hippest stuff ever. Those early rock songs by Neil Diamond, they are really cool rock and roll. You know, I'm a Believer and earlier. And then there's some masterpieces he did that are like Brooklyn Roads. That is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a great piece of music, then all the arrangers that worked on that and the session guys, high level stuff. So yeah, that's Rich's project.
Yeah.
Rich Jakes.
Yeah.
And
Jakes, yeah.
he called me to come in and play, and I said, absolutely, I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
You guys do a couple different shows. There's a Country Roads show, the country show. There's the
Sinatra. I don't know if you
Sinatra
played the
one.
Sinatra
one.
My favorite's the Song 74.
Songs, yeah.
The 70s thing.
Yeah, the 70s thing
Just
is
stuff
fun.
from 74, yep.
That's some good stuff right there.
From
yeah.
my youth.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's good stuff.
What, when you were growing up, what stuff were you
Yes.
listening to? Like what artists, what bands?
Ooh. How long should these things go?
As long as you want them to go.
Okay. I can elaborate, and then you cut them down.
Sure, we'll
Yeah,
do
okay.
whatever.
Okay. The beginning, you want to know?
Yeah, like when growing up, who was the first
up.
stuff you got into?
All right, the beginning. Let's see. Go way back. I'm looking at my house. I see my youth. I see my bedroom. I see my two brothers, and they are both guitar players. I had a third brother who wasn't a musician, but he loved music. He was listening to the Beach Boys and the Four Seasons, which was big influence. So I'd say my brother was an influence, the one who wasn't a musician.
Huh.
The other two are guitar players, and they also play piano, and they're great guitar players and songwriters. They never really went away, you know, like I moved away. They stayed home and had families, but still do music. So, you know, in those early days, I remember walking into the back room and they were jamming, the two of them. Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, you know, those tunes of the day, early 70s. I'm old. Sorry to say, anybody out there that thinks they're going to get like a young new guy when they call me.
man. Got to hear from the legends, you know?
I'm 60. I'm going to be 68.
Really? Mm-hmm. I would not have pinned you at 68, like actually.
67, but you know.
But either way, yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. So I saw these two playing this music, and they were grooving, and I said, "Wow, I want." And they had a bass player. They had a neighborhood guy, and he had a red hollow body bass, which is really cool, and it was an Epiphone and a small cheap amp that didn't have an on and off switch, and it was just on and buzzing all the time.
Nice.
A cheap little thing, really light, Sears, and I asked. He wasn't there that day. The bass player, the neighborhood guy, Hal Warren, he wasn't there. So I said, like, man, can I try my hand at this? Because the bass is there.
Yeah.
I had never played.
And it's on. It's ready to go.
On.
It's
buzzing.
definitely not off. Yeah.
Yeah, an Epiphone, cool looking bass, man. It had F holes. It was just like it looked like a 335 guitar, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah.
Thinner. But anyway, so I picked it up and didn't know how to play. I couldn't keep up with Foxy Lady, you know.
Yeah.
So I remember they were playing a song called After Midnight by Eric Clapton,
Yeah.
written by J.J. Cale, which was out at the time. This would have been in the early 70s. So I took the bass into the adjacent bedroom. I remember this now. This is an interesting realization on my part. And I listened to it, that song on an LP, and I was trying to find the notes, you know, like. Oh, and I'm trying to find it, but I'm going like.
Sounds like Massimo
I
playing
was gonna
bass.
say, that's how I play bass.
And then that sounds like the guy.
Yeah.
And then what does he do? Then let me put it back. Scratch the record. It's my brother's record. Oh, so, okay. That's like a thing that they do. I guess I was using my thumb because it was the only digit I had control of, really.
Yeah.
You know, when you play bass, you use two fingers, you know, a lot of times. Sometimes a pick, which I do, but, you know, I was doing the thumb. Anyway, so I learned that tune, man. Okay, then it goes up to goes up to another note. Oh, then I went back in the room, and they were like, "What are you doing back here?" I said, "Can I plug into the amp that's on already?
Yeah.
And let's play." And we played that tune. That's the first tune I ever played music on.
That's cool.
From learning it like that. That was the bass line. And then after midnight, we're gonna let it all hang down. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was we gonna cause a talking suspicion when I give an exhibition. Same chords, you know. Find out what it's all about. Then went to the 5. After midnight. So I learned that, played it. I was hooked. That was it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like I said, they were playing Foxy Lady and Purple Haze and then a bunch of Beatles stuff. Oh, the Beatles.
Yeah.
So to answer your question,
Yeah.
Beatles. After that, it was all Beatles.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Beatles. Paul McCartney's bass lines were so incredible. And I remember having to learn this one bass line that was... Had a lot of slides in it. It was all on one string, though. Dear Prudence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Anyway, it went to a different chord. That was what it was. Haven't played it in so many years. That was it. And my brothers were finger picking, and I was loving that. And then it was time for the bass line. And it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Paul McCartney. So that
Yeah.
was my love affair with Paul McCartney. And I kept doing it, and all those Wings records started coming out, because this was the 70s. Beatles had broken up.
Yep.
And, you know, it was like... You know, that was Silly Love Songs, all those bass lines. He was a genius.
Oh, yeah.
And that led me to, okay, this is great. I'm glad we're telling these stories. This is fantastic, because it reminds me of how I became funky.
Yeah.
Because that music Beatles was funky in its own way.
Yeah.
But I heard James Brown, and I had these roots in James Brown that when I was a kid, I brought a James Brown record in, you know, for school day, elementary school day.
Yeah,
Bring in something. It was a James Brown record that I had. Didn't know anything about how to play bass. But when I brought it in, I had these visions in my memory of I loved James Brown. Who doesn't love James Brown?
Yeah.
And I didn't really play like that yet. Those were Beatles things I was playing, and Clapton. That funk, you know, nailing the one and playing funky. So I wanted to be funky. That word funky is even not funky when I say it, you know?
Yeah.
You got to work on it. So I wanted to be funky. So here's the great thing. From that Beatles root and Clapton and all that stuff, as a young guy, not of age for bars yet, I found a club,
Nice.
a black club
Yeah.
called the Afro-American Club.
Nice.
That was the club.
Yeah.
And I heard about it, where there was a jam session on Sunday. I went to this club, little white boy in the hood. Check this out.
Is this where was this?
This
Were
is
you
true,
still in Florida?
man. This is Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Okay.
Where there was a lot of great music.
Yeah.
A lot of great music. And this during the disco era. And, you know, a little pre-disco-ish disco era, yeah. I'd say 75. And I go in there, I go to the door, and there's these red velvet curtains over this glass door. And, you know, oh my God, I'm in danger here. It was like it was a crazy neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, people selling drugs on the corner and stuff. It's way down in the hood, right? So
Yeah.
So I knocked, and the little curtain opened up. A guy peeked out, and it closed. He didn't open the door.
Yeah.
I stood out there like, oh no. Knocked again. He peeked. Nothing. Okay. I'm not welcome here, but I'm not going away. I'm staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, knock. He came out. Big burly dude. He's a bouncer. He goes, hey man, what's up? What do you want? I said, man, I heard there was a jam session here. I had a Fender jazz bass.
Nice.
And he goes, a jam session? Yeah, it starts in a little while, but he looked me up and down. I was so green.
Yeah.
And I only knew those little bass lines, really.
Yeah.
I wasn't funky yet.
Yeah.
And I remember I learned one bass line. It was a blues bass line. It went like this. We all know this
Oh
one.
yeah.
Yep.
It works on everything.
All those fails.
It
Yeah.
literally does. Yeah.
So I knew that bass line and the Clapton things. I whatever. This just happened and they went away. But this was this moment, and this van full of guys pulls up. It must have been. It was like unbelievable. They were filing out one after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 13, 15 guys getting out of this van, and they're walking by me. And he's opening the door for them, and they were just looking at me like, "What are you doing?" They go in. The last guy was the bass player.
Nice.
Of course, the last guy.
Held the door for
You're a
everybody
bass-
else.
Yeah, yeah. And he comes up. He goes, "What you got in the case, man?" I said, "Oh, it's a Fender." He goes, "Let me see it." Now, meanwhile, they went in, but they kind of filtered back out. Now there's all these guys around me in the parking lot, and he goes, "What you got there?" And I go, "It's a Fender." He goes, "Let me see it." They took the bass and started throwing it around to each other, making fun of me. You know,
Yeah.
I was wondering if I was going to get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys were tough, man.
Yeah.
Really, for real. And I was like, hey, and they're laughing and throwing it over each other's head. And every one of them could play
Yeah. Yeah.
better than me.
Yeah.
They'd grab it and they'd start playing some licks and they'd throw it to
Even the
next-
drummer, he could play better. than you?
Yes.
Wow.
He could. His name was Boot.
Boot.
Never forget it, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Never
Good
saw
name.
these guys that much after that year or so. I don't know whatever happened to them, but we played together a lot. They accepted me. Oh, I went in when I got there. The guy, when I got on stage, they called me up. I played that. And then after we finished, the guy looked at me and the drummer, he went, "Do you know anything a little more modern, man?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went, and then they just loved me. That was
Yeah.
Mr. Magic was out on the radio.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
had practiced it before I went.
Yeah.
And I played that. That was it. You can come next week. And I did every week. Every week I learned another tune, about a year. And I think that's why I am funky, as some people say, because
Yeah.
those early roots, you know, the Clapton, the McCartney thing was the rock sound that I've made a good living at over the last 50 years. But that funk thing, that got me through New York. You know, when I moved to New York, because you had to be a badass in New York, man.
Yeah.
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 And you got to be funky in New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Man, I love that. Wait, there's a jam. You know, Kimbrough's down the road.
I've been there. It's a great little club.
We just had a buddy of ours who was just on the podcast. He runs a jam on Sunday nights.
Ooh, I should
Same
come
deal.
down there.
You should.
He's
You
the
would blow
man.
the
Let's
joint
go,
up.
man.
Henry is the man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double
Henry's awesome.
basses.
Dude, but
Stereo bass. I'll go left, you go right. Yeah.
Henry plays the meanest slide guitar I've ever heard.
Yes.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
I
Henry
mean,
what?
Henry Cruz.
Okay.
I'll send you his
I
stuff.
wanna hear all
after
about
this.
Henry
He,
Cruz.
but yeah, man, every Sunday night, the house band plays for an hour, starting at 7, and then it's just open for a couple hours, and then they'll
What?
close out the night at 11 or 10.
Is
you
it blues?
know? It's
whatever.
whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a place to go play some three.
I went up and played LaGrange, and then the next song was Funky New Year or something,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something weird like that. Yeah.
Funky what?
Funky New Year by the Eagles.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know that too?
Yeah.
That's the
I
thing
can't
I
play it
showed
right
you.
now
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he has a recording of it.
Yeah. I played bass on that.
Is that you on the recording?
Yeah, I'm on
man.
bass on that. Yeah.
He's killer on that, man. And
Man,
that doobie thing I showed you, that's
I
him too.
complimented the bass on that, didn't I? That was you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's sick, man. Man, see, this is why I wanted David to come on. 'Cause
That's
he's
good.
got all these stories.
There's a
about-
lot of stories. There's a lot of them.
I wanted
love
to
that.
ask. I wanted to ask you
Ask me
about
anything.
your gear growing up. Like,
Ah.
let's say early 20s. what was your gear at that time? Did you have a ton of stuff? Were you just plugging in the front of the amp? Did you have a big pedal board? Did you have outboard rack? Like,
Yeah.
None of that. But you know what I did have is I had that amp that stayed on all the time.
Yeah.
It was only a cheap amp. It was worth about $50.
Yeah.
But I used that on all my early playing situations where you didn't have to be heard, like rehearsals and things. And then when I first got my, okay, gear question. So went in and played with those guys at the Afro-American Club, and I'd come back a lot. Well, one night I played. I learned a George Benson tune, and when Breezin' was out. You remember Breezin'? That had a bass line. It was one of those things, right? So I learned that bass line and went in and played that. After that jam session, I was leaving. I had to go somewhere, and I left early. And as I was getting in I was old enough to drive. I know that. I was like 17, 18. I got in the car, and a guy ran to my window and knocked on the window. Startled me a little bit. And I rolled the window down, and it was a guy I'd never seen. He was an older man. And he had a band called the Mixed Emotions. It was a 3-piece R&B band that did steps and things, and they were like the Temptations.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they wore double knit suits. It was really funky. It's total 70s hats, sideways, like the Miracles, like a real cool old style R&B.
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, I like your feel, man. Would you like to come and be in a band?" It was the first band I was in to make money, but I needed an amp.
Yeah.
So I went to there was no Guitar Center in those days. This was Paragon Music, it was called. That was our number one. We had 2 music stores, and I went there and I said, I need a bass amp, The guy was like, okay, let's play through some stuff. And he sold me. His name was Dickie Ramori. He ran the Paragon Music. And Dickie.
Well, that's a good name.
He was a strange character, but he was cool. He sold me an amp.
Yeah.
And I took that amp and went to those gigs and learned about how to fill up a room with bass, because the PA in those days, you weren't always in the PA.
Yeah.
So, yes, to answer your question, that was my amp thing. I wasn't into pedals, although a little later, when I started getting good enough to go out and play for real, in other bands, not just that band, like regularly for a living.
Yeah.
There was there was pedal stuff going on in the disco era, wah-wah pedals. Larry Graham was playing like these crazy pedals, and so was Bootsy. They were called envelope filters.
Yeah,
you know about that?
Yeah.
What's that?
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah, did you see Sly Stone just died?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know it's not Bootsy, but my mind was there. Sorry.
No, I know. Larry played with him. Yeah, man. So I did have a couple of pedals, but I'm gonna be honest with you about that. I used pedals. Nobody liked them. Your sound gets thinner when you use pedals.
Yeah.
It's not really. It does work, of course. Guys use them. Pino Palladino had like octave dividers and things, and you can. But those envelope filters, they're cool, but they take the fundamental out of the bass.
Yeah.
It's there, but it's like a little bit wishy-washy.
It gets small. It gets so small. Yeah.
I didn't want to sound small.
Yeah. No.
I was already small. So look, man, that's the note. And that's what I manipulate more than the wah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah.
The color people, the color guys, they make the color sounds like delays and reverbs. I don't do any of that.
Yeah.
I just play low end stuff.
Yeah.
That's grooving to me.
Yeah.
And that is where I live. Now I see these guys posting on Facebook and all this stuff on these bass-centric posts about, Jesus, man, I think it's really corny to serve the song or like to play. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
To play like, man, it's. What are you talking about? This is bass you're dealing with here.
Yeah. It's not like we're lead guitar.
Yeah.
We play bass. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've noticed this too on the internet is that bass players have forgotten that they're bass players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, other than drums, without us, there's no like
foundation.
home base.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no like ground.
yeah.
Man, I hear these guys. There's so many great players out there now. I'm nothing compared to these guys. You hear them, and they're just like blowing left and right all over the place. It's just solos up and down the neck, and I've worked at that, but I never had that. I don't have that gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need it, obviously.
I think other than drums, a bass solo is like how drummers hate taking drum solos. When you tell a bass player to take a bass solo, you're like, I'm going to play chromatic for the next 16 bars until you tell me I'm done.
There's a joke about that. You heard about that, right? The drums, they go to Africa and they get off these American folks and they're a little nervous, and then there's like these sounds of drums off in the distance, and they're a little worried. What is this? What's going on? And somebody says, he goes, "What's that? What is that?" He goes, "It's drums." And he goes, "Oh, do they ever stop?" He goes, "The drums stop very bad, very bad. Drums stop." And he goes, "Oh, what? Really? Why?" "Bass solo." That's an old one.
Ever stop.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, right before the break here, I want to ask, what was the first gig? Because you had all those artists I mentioned and many more that.
Those came way later than one.
Yeah. So what was the first thing that you did? Was like, oh my gosh, I've made it. Like, what was the gig? What was the path to that gig, and who was it that was
Gotcha.
like, okay, I'm David Santos, the bass player. This is it.
Man. Well, those gigs that I'm talking about really made me feel like that I was, David Santos, the bass player. Those early gigs. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because we were all searching for our identities in our teens and stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the 20s, when I got to be in the ages, I don't know. Let me see. I started playing in those disco clubs. Tampa had a big disco scene. You go and party all night, dance, and those disco tunes were incredible. Donna Summer, and those tunes, the bass lines were like, but they were all fast. They were like, and you had to really have good chops to do that. I'm sitting down so hard, but so that was like the disco groove, and then Chic was coming out, and that was a bass line that Chic used to do, and the Donna Summer stuff. So when I got in a good band in Tampa called Tampa, we had a curtain that was in front. It was a big stage, about the size of your stage.
Yeah.
And the curtain came in close. I felt like then I had become David Santos,
Really?
the bass player. Yeah, and I met a girl there.
Yeah.
And she was really enamored with the fact that I was in this. We were stars and local stars.
Yeah.
Nobody knows any of them now, but of course that was the scene in the 70s. I would say that really was 77. I remember 77 because I would record everything every night and I would write the date. And I remember seeing 1977 all the time. 77. That was the band I was in called Tampa. I got fired from that.
What'd you do?
I got fired. That was the beginning. The beginning of my firings.
Must piss somebody off.
I've been fired from every gig I ever did.
Really?
Really?
Almost.
Wow.
Almost. How did I lose that one?
Yeah.
What did I do? Okay. I don't think I was quite ready. These guys were older and better players.
Yeah.
And I was keeping up, but I think they were looking for somebody a little bit more chopsy. Not sure exactly, but one day I went there early every day. I'd go there early, and I would mess around with my sound and stuff. And when I was in there, I said, "Let me go in the booth." There was a sound man had a booth, like you guys. And I went in, and there were some headphones sitting there and a cassette deck. I said, "Oh, I bet he recorded last night," but no, he hadn't recorded that night. He had recorded earlier that morning, an audition of a bass player.
You're kidding.
And I heard it. And I could hear them all talking. There was room mics,
Yeah.
And his name was Steve J., who later became a well-known bass player with Al Yankovic. He's still with Al Yankovic.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, he had come to town. He had a lot of gear. That guy had some gear. He had 2 8x10 cabinets. No, they were 18s. That's what he had.
18s?
He had 18s with tweeters.
I didn't know they made bigger than 15s. Holy moly.
Dude, you don't know about 18s?
I don't know about 18s.
Oh,
no.
my God. 18s are big, man.
I didn't know they used 18s for bass. That's
Yes,
crazy.
they were in these EV cabinets.
Oh, wow.
You got to Google that.
Electro Voice, yeah.
EV, said EV in the corner, and they were large, and they were 18s, and there were 2 tweeters and little mid-sized speakers in there, crossovers. And then your amping system, you could split that all up if you knew what you were doing with crossovers and stuff, or not. You could do full range, and then you plug out one into the other, and he had them both there, and they were massive sound. And he had an active bass, which was new then.
Yeah.
That was an alembic bass. It was great. He had a good sound. Anyway, he took my girlfriend. He took my gig and my girlfriend.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Weird Al?
Wasn't his
Have a
fault.
conversation.
Wasn't his fault. He was just great.
Yeah.
Good. And he took over. And it wasn't his. I approached him about the girlfriend thing, And he said, "Sorry, David." I said, "Hey, man, no. It's all good.
Did the
No problem."
did him getting that gig, not the girlfriend part, but him getting the gig push you to be like, okay, let's hunker down and like
Man,
and
you're
get this.
now you're nailing it.
Yeah, yeah.
That drove me hard
Really?
to become better.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And looking around town in those days, there were disco bands and stuff, but there was one odd little gig that I jumped on, and that's what I would do. I'd play gigs until they die, and then jump to the next one, jump to the next one, right? And this one was a Latin gig, which was cool. All Latin-speaking folks. It was called the Bonfire Lounge, and they were playing real salsa music, and those bass lines were like...
Super syncopated. Yeah.
And then that's called
cool.
That's called tumbao.
Yeah.
That rhythm. You never hit on one. You almost never hit on one.
Yeah.
1. Off. 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 You're almost in 6/8 against 4. And I learned that style, and there was a conga player, 2 conga players, and they both stood right next to me. And I would lock in with the back to boom boom, back to boom boom, back boom boom. The timba, the low boom boom, right?
Yeah.
Boom boom. And I learned about playing that way, and there was a guy on Vibes too. He owned the club.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Played Vibes.
Yeah.
And the drummer was fantastic. He got killed in a car accident. His name was Ronaldo, but he was a great drummer and singer. He fronted the band from behind the drums. So I got that gig, like you.
Yeah.
There you go, Massimo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be Ronaldo. Just hopefully
Ronaldo. No,
die in a car
don't be
accident.
Ronaldo. He died. He died running across the street, and he had a kid, which was terrible.
Yeah, okay. I won't be Ronaldo. But
No, he was in a band called Archie Bell and the Drells.
R.G. Bell and
Archie.
the Drells.
Archie.
Okay.
You could Google them.
Huh.
Archie Bell and the Drells. They had a couple of mega hits. They were disco people with records out, and he was in the band. And great. I learned a lot from him. And boy, some nights, he would be playing. The feel was so incredible with those percussionists and him.
Oh, I bet.
And they were the guys. Those two didn't even speak English, and very little bit. They would struggle with words. Mm-hmm. And but Ronaldo was so great, man. He'd go to that ride cymbal, and it's so much fun to live in that world with him on that ride cymbal. Ding, 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 ding. And we would do some changes. I remember we did a. That was called Body Heat
Yeah.
by James Brown.
Yeah.
Man, we did that tune. Because the keyboard player was older, he ran the gig, and a lot older. He was 37.
Right. Yeah.
He was way older.
Yeah.
But he was Jack Brown. Jack Brown. He was a Caucasian, but he loved Latin music. He was the only Caucasian, and me too. I mean, my name is Santos, but I don't speak Spanish. My father didn't let me speak Spanish.
Really?
No, he didn't. Not that he didn't let me. He just, I just had the feeling. We just had the feeling that he didn't want us to speak Spanish. He wanted English,
Yeah.
and spoke to us in English. So we didn't really learn Spanish we'd learn curse words.
I'm the same way in Italian. Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah. I know when they're talking about me, and I know when they're pissed at me.
Yeah.
So you don't speak Italian
Not really.
with a
no.
name like that?
I know. My parents, they come from 2 different dialects, though.
Yeah.
So my
That's
mom's
the problem. Is
side.
there's so many dialects there that
I know.
it's like if you're not perfect, it's just
Well, when the 2 sides get together, whenever they do, not every word, but some words are like, "What? What are you saying?" And they both think they're right. They both think they're the actual language. and-
Like
because that's Italians. That's
the
Italians.
dialect is so different. Like up there by like what is it? What is the one that has a lot of black influence?
Oh, it's like a Tuscany. There's the Tuscan
Yeah.
up north,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you go
yeah.
south Sicilians and stuff like that.
Are you Italian too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
so
Italian
you
too.
guys, man.
He's a lot more Italian than me, but I
Yes.
still got it. Still got
You
it.
owe me an Italian meal for this.
Hey,
Little Hats
we
and
can make
Cool
that
Springs.
happen.
Little Hats?
Oh yeah, they opened.
You still
Tell
haven't
about it.
been.
No, I haven't been.
It's amazing. There's one in Nashville, but they just opened one in Cool Springs
Okay.
here across from my apartment complex.
All right.
So it's like a deli counter in New York. You can go up and get prosciutto or whatever by the slice.
Okay.
But then they also got a sandwich shop in there and pasta and all that stuff. And it's also a market, so you can go buy pasta
Here?
and buy meat and then
Yeah.
take it home. Yeah, in
I
Cool
know. We
Springs.
gotta go.
It's amazing. And It's
Okay.
all
We
Italian
gotta
imported
go.
stuff.
Okay, good.
It's amazing. No free pub, but
Well, cool,
All right.
man. We're
That's cool.
here right at the break. What we typically do for a break is each of us will pick a song that we want to play at the break. Like for us, it'll be like in whatever, but on the video, it'll be this song is playing.
Okay.
But when we have a guest, we'll let the guest pick the song. So it's just gut reaction, something you listen to on the way here, something.
pick a
something
song?
something
Any
you
song,
played
yeah.
on,
And
anything.
Okay. Cleanhead.
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 By who?
David Santos.
Nice. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I love it.
That's perfect.
The self promo, nothing wrong with it. All right,
Thank
here's
you.
a
Thanks,
break
guys.
real quick, and this is a Cleanhead by our very own David Santos. Here you go.
Yes, we'll be right back.
Okay, hope you guys enjoyed that David Santos tune.
Yeah.
We didn't listen to it in time here, but it's okay.
Unfortunately.
I'm sure those are really good.
Yes.
The bass line, I'm sure, was killer.
Yes. Yes.
All right, as we're going here, David, I wanted to bring up some of these killer artists you play for. I want to start with this one, selfishly. Toto.
Toto.
How'd you get the Toto gig? I'm a huge fan. I want to go see. They're coming to town.
Yeah.
Christopher Cross and Men at Work and Toto.
Ooh, when is this?
August
August something.
15th, something like that.
Middle of the
see
week,
that.
I think.
No, it's a Friday.
Oh.
It's a Friday.
Okay.
But yeah, so like how did that come about?
Okay.
I
All right.
want to know.
It was a short and sweet situation. I didn't have a tour with. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was a tour. I was traveling, so I guess that's a tour. But let's see. So there's a drummer in town named Shannon Forrest.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Who's a fantastic, great drummer, and not just a great drummer. The guy is just a really great musician, and he knows a lot about a lot of things. He's a very deep guy,
Yeah.
and we have great conversations. I really enjoy talking to him. He's a good friend. Now, Shannon and I played together many moons ago in the 90s, actually, with Larry Carlton.
Oh, cool.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yep. We were both younger. We came into town. I came into town. He was living here and playing a lot. And he comes from a family tradition of music in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And so we bonded. We played well together. But you know how life is. I was traveling a lot, and he was doing what he was doing, and I wasn't around that much in Nashville. So we didn't play all that much. Once in a while, we'd see each other on a session, and it always went well. And then one day, we found each other at his. He has a barn in the back of his home, which has got an SSL in it, and it's a real serious studio.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And he's a great engineer.
Oh, really?
Maybe one of the best engineers I've ever worked with. He's just intuitive, knows the gear, dials, goes fast, moves quick, just really quick mind.
Yeah.
And can fix stuff, like, get on his back under the console. And oh, hold on a minute,
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got to fix this. Let me just put a new...
Change the capacitor out.
All that.
Yeah.
Card. And he was just a good friend, and we were playing some Toto music before he had the gig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we jammed on it. We worked on it together and played. It was fun playing those songs. And, I have my own motivation for playing those songs, just like we all do for whatever reason we want to do these things. And so did he. And, well, he got the gig.
Yeah.
And he's still with them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't get the gig. I wasn't asked to do the gig, not at that time anyway. But I one day got a call from Shannon, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm out with Toto, and we've got a situation. Our bass player is in between right now." So it was, I think Nathan East had been playing the gig.
Yep. He was with him.
I was going to ask who it was, yeah.
He was with him in 2013 for sure, Nathan East. And he was
Okay.
with him for a few more years after that.
This was 2015.
I know, cause I only know that because the 35th anniversary tour was 2013, and there's a video of him in Poland, and he's playing.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I learned some
one of
of
the
that.
best concerts I've watched online is that show.
Yes, he's a monster. And then the other bass player that was going to possibly do the gig, because Nathan was busy with Eric Clapton. Was the other bass player was Leland
Oh,
Sklar.
I love Leland Sklar. He's one of my
Leland's the
favorite
man.
bass players.
Love Leland too.
Yeah.
I want to put a producer switch on my bass so bad. You know about that thing?
I've seen him talk.
I want to do it so bad.
That is amazing.
He did an event here during COVID. It was him and a couple other studio people. They just spoke on stage. It was like a seminar.
I saw
and he spoke about it, I remember, and I watched him walk outside, and I was like,
It was here in this theater.
yes, it was here.
Yeah, it was the family. Something family.
Yeah. So, was it
Immediate family.
somebody else? I think so. Somebody else was on stage, too. I don't want to say Larry Carlton, but someone else notable was on stage with him
Yeah,
speaking.
he's in a band called the Immediate Family with all these great session musicians.
Yeah.
LA guys. Yeah, I love Leland, man. So he was busy with Phil Collins.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Sheesh.
So these two bass players who had been doing the gig occasionally were busy, but the original bassist in Toto's name is David Hungate. He's a good friend of mine, and he's a great musician and a great thinker, smart guy, wonderful man. I love him. Anyway, so these are three great bass players.
Yeah.
And Toto is, really a wonderful band. These guys are amazing. So Hungate left the band. And that, because remember, Nathan, you said, did it in 2013.
Yeah. He did it for I'd say at least 5 years.
Nathan,
around
okay.
then.
After that, I believe Hungate came back. He had gone for a while.
That sounds right.
It was like a reunion, man. David Hungate's back.
Yeah.
And he did it and was great. He's another great bass player. Not just a great bass player, great trombone player,
wow.
guitar player, producer, produced Chet Atkins records and things.
Wow.
Oh, he's a ridiculous musician. Good as it gets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good as it gets. So he quit. And I don't know the details, but he left the band after that run.
Yeah.
And they were going to get one of those two back. Again, those two were conflicted with other tours. So Shannon called me and he said, "Hey, do you think you would like to play some gigs with Toto?"
Yeah.
I said, "Sure. Let me check my schedule." Of course, it worked out. And I'm very, very serious about that. I checked my schedule, and he said, "Okay, well, come on over and let's talk through the set because there will be no rehearsing. You're just going to fly in and do the gig."
Sheesh.
It was a TV show. Wow. It was a TV show in it was either Sweden or Switzerland. I believe it was Sweden. It was far away. It was a long flight. So anyway, he goes, "I'll get you through the set. You can walk in and just kill the gig, and it'll be fine. It'll be fun." I said, "Great." So I went over and we worked on some stuff. Went through it. You know, he knew the stuff cold, and you know, bass player and drummers, man, we lock in, man. That's, so we were grooving hard, man, just like you guys probably do.
Yeah.
And we nailed it, and I flew out, and as planned, and you know, I was having some situations. I remember Wendy's dad, he was getting sick, and I was dealing with, you know, that experience, and my mind was on a lot of things in those days, in that particular time, right in that window, and I wanted to do that Toto gig for my own personal reasons, you know, really. Mm-hmm. So I shedded it.
Yeah.
I really did. I do every gig, but that one I really spent some time listening to it and playing along with it, and then I'd go to Shannon's and play with him and lock in. "What are you playing there? What am I playing there?" Okay, and he knows all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's a genius. So yeah, you know, he kind of coached me through it, and I was ready. And we flew out and did it. When I got there after flying all day, went in the room, and the phone rang, and it was Lukather, and he said, "Hey man, we're in the bar. Come on down. We want to meet you."
Yeah.
As we're playing tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We're going to go over and minimal sound check.
Yeah.
We're doing a line check. We're just going to make sure that all the notes were working. The instruments were playing through the PA perfectly, and then just do the show. It's a TV. It's live TV, but recorded TV. So, man, okay, I went down to the bar, met everybody. We had a dinner there. It was fun. It was a good hang. And went to bed, got up in the morning, went and did that. Then when we got to the studio, Steve came on stage. I believe Lenny Castro on percussion and myself and Shannon got there first. And we were jamming a little, getting the sound. I had an SVT rental.
Nice.
Which is a big rig.
Yeah. Were you playing a P? What were you playing?
I was playing a Fender Jazz with active pickups in it. It became one of my basses that I really was a go-to for important stuff. Mm-hmm. You could count on that thing, man. It was a punchy, powerful. I still have it. I haven't used it much lately, but because the trend is for passive basses these days, 4-string. You know, it's like a retro hang. Almost like everybody wants to be retro, you know.
Throw it back.
And I mean, I am retro as a human being, so I know.
Nothing wrong with that.
I've got all those old basses. So we played a little, we jammed a little, and then Lukather showed up. The whole band showed up. Steve came on stage. I remember this specifically. He was saying, you know, we'd play a little, and he'd go, "There's too much bass on stage." And I said, "Oh, shoot, really? You know, these SVTs can throw a lot of low end around, right?" So I went back, and he goes, "No, it's not you." And he was talking to their genius front of house guy, Ken. "Hey, man, there's too much bass up here, man." Well, there was subwoofers under the stage.
Yeah, that'll bite you.
That gets us here.
It's just giant. It's just huge, massive low frequency, you know, 30 hertz to 200, you know, just roaring underneath the stage. So he kept saying that it's too much low, and I get it, but see, I didn't know him at all, so I thought he was like not digging me.
Yeah.
So I walked back to the amp. I kept turning it down. He saw me, and he goes, "No, it's not you, man." But he was, it was a quick hurry up and go thing, so we didn't have time to talk it through. So you know what I did? I just turned the amp off. Off.
Yeah.
OFF. The light went off.
Yeah. As opposed to that other amp that can't turn
The
off.
one is exactly. I wish I'd had that one.
Yes. So you could tell them, not me. I can't even turn it off. Cut the power to the building and then you could turn it off. Yeah.
That amp has been gone so long. That was in 1973 or 4.
Wow.
Jeez.
Okay, so I thought I had ears in, same ones I have in right now.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? No matter what happens, I don't need the amp. I'm gonna hear myself in the ears, even if it's just enough to hear the notes.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine. It's whatever. So we played the gig. Afterwards, his tech came over and said, "Your amp was off." He said, "Your amp was off the whole show." Yeah. I said, "It was." That was fun. We did the gig. Now that gig I didn't read charts. I didn't read anything at all. I just did it by ear.
Yeah.
I wanted to. You play a little differently. I do believe there are musicians that can read and play it perfectly in time and right on, and it's like important to be able to do that. But for me, when I'm reading, I can't help but wonder if there's a little bit of a millisecond delay between my brain seeing the note, visual,
Yeah.
and the processing of it in my brain and then running it through into my fingers, even though it's nothing I'm, worried too much about. I still rather would not do that.
Yeah. Well, and it screws with the feel too, just a little bit, just
might.
the hair,
It
I feel the same
I've noticed
way.
that too.
Really?
If I ever, and I don't read a ton, but when I do, I'm like, I feel like it's more processing power in my mind to output whatever I got to do,
It could be, but then again, I remember one time with John Fogerty, we were making a record, and I saw Aronoff playing, and he was reading. So I walked over and I looked at his chart, and every note was written.
Oh, wow.
Not just number charts or a flow chart.
Yeah.
It was hi-hat rhythms, open and close, tom fills, snare, and everything.
And he wrote it all out?
He wrote it all out.
Wow.
Kenny. You're saying Kenny Aronoff, right?
Aronoff.
Yeah. Wow.
He's reading the heck out of it. And it felt natural.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
I said, "Hey, man, you write your stuff out?" He goes, "Yeah, just to be safe. I want to know what I'm going to play. And then I'm reading it, and then I change it if I want to, too,
Yeah. It helps them come back to like, hey, can we do another take? You go, yes, I'll just play that.
And there it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I must say, it's hard. And older I get, it's hard to remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, man, how do you? The number system guys here in Nashville, they just have those numbers. 1, 4, 5, 6 minor, 4, and all that. But there's a lot of stuff in there besides those numbers. Like connecting tones and rhythms and things, parts that you may come up with. And you have to remember that stuff. Mm-hmm. Your brain has to be remembering all the thoughts that you had about what you would present to that number that's sitting there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of memory. And sometimes, man, I'd rather just write the thing out and read it. So, in the Toto instance, I just really wanted to nail that for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played the gig. It went down well. I made one mistake, but it was a very natural thing. I went to hit a downbeat and I got off it quick. It was a bad note, but I kind of slid off it. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
I knew, but Shannon heard it. He told me later.
Did he give you a look? He's like,
"Yeah, I heard you get off that note, man." It was just one note.
Yeah.
It was returning after an odd meter bridge to come down to the one in this one tune.
Now I want to guess what tune. Odd Meter Bridge.
Yeah.
Was it a more recent song?
Ba 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 ba. I remember it was in it like ba ba. Paige sang it.
Oh. Bum, 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 bum,
I knew he would get it. I knew he'd
Yeah,
get it.
Oh, St. George and the Dragon or something. St. George.
He just needed the time.
Yeah,
I
man.
Knew
You know that's yeah.
I walked alone.
That's it. That's the tune.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm going to look it up
It's
right
an
now.
F.
I know exactly
It's an F,
the
yeah.
song that is. That's an early tune, too. That's from like the first or second record. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun,
Great tune.
Oh, I mean, Some of the early stuff they did, oh my God. I mean, everything they did obviously is great, but like,
Yeah.
I tell you
let's
what.
see, St. George and the Dragon. Yeah, that's exactly
you would
what it
What
ever
was the name of it?
St. George and the Dragon.
It seemed like it had a different name.
No, let's play it.
Look for another one that's on this.
Pop an ear out and you can hear it real quick. Oh, wait, not that one. That's not it.
It wasn't that.
It's not it.
That's not
Hydra.
That's it. Hydra.
It was one of the two.
Hydra. That's it.
Pickety third.
And,
Is it Pickety Third?
yes. And it's got this odd metery kind of section in the middle.
Let me see if I can find
I
it.
mean, I haven't listened to this in years.
You guys are playing this? Wow.
Yeah. And Shannon smokes that stuff, and he really,
I bet.
he just destroys it.
Hydra, I knew.
Hydra.
See, when I get those two confused all the time because in that 2013 concert, I mean, I watched that. It's like 2 hours long.
So
on
you're
YouTube.
a fan. You're actually a fan of the band.
Oh, come on.
If you would have said Steve Perry instead of Toto, he literally would have kicked
gotten
me
it.
out of the room.
Why?
Because he's the biggest Steve
the
Perry
biggest.
Journey
I love
fan
Steve
in the
Perry
world.
too.
Journey and Toto
He
are
can
my
tell you the day that the
bread and
songs came
butter.
out. He could tell you
bread
like
and
what
butter.
time.
Maybe not that. But
What do you love about Journey so much? Steve's voice.
it's Steve and personal things aside with their personal whatever the bandmates, but something about that creative flow, especially between Neil and Jonathan Cain and Steve Perry, it's just when they wrote and the parts particularly that they wrote in the
I know
songs.
exactly what you're talking about.
It's just that the blend of them together. It's just for me. It does it for me.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna get off my boat.
I wish he'd go back out, man.
He put out a record in 2018.
Didn't he just put out like this year? He put out something or
he's
last
putting
year?
out. Oh, he just put out the Willie Nelson
He
thing.
just put out the Willie Nelson.
Did you see
thing.
that?
No.
He put out him and Willie Nelson put out Faithfully, like a rendition of it.
Oh.
And it's like it's original key, which I will keep pointing out, original key, but it's different. It's more that Willie Nelson does his like it's
Just
very
a talk
spoken
thing.
word,
Yeah.
and it's good. It's Steve Perry. You're hearing Steve Perry,
And Willie Nelson's cool too.
Oh yeah,
I want to
He's
go
like
see
90.
him. I want to go to that Willie and Bob tour.
Yeah, see that Willie
see
Nelson
that?
and Bob Dylan are on the road.
They're coming to First Bank.
I think it's this week. I think it's Wednesday.
this week?
I think it's Wednesday.
Who's opening for who?
we
I
asked
think,
that question?
I
we
think
don't know.
Bob opens for Willie because it's Willie and friends, so he'll bring out like his son, Lucas, and all that stuff. Someone else is opening for them too is amazing. Someone else on the bill is amazing.
I don't know
forget.
who it is.
I saw Dylan open for the Grateful Dead. Oh man,
Was this with Jerry or was this?
Jerry.
Oh,
So what year was this? What year was
Saw
this?
him in New York City at Giant Stadium. 90s,
Gosh.
early 90s. Would it have been 91 maybe? When did Jerry die?
wasn't it like 93 was when he died or something
Yeah,
like that?
I think it was 90, 91. It was amazing, and Dylan opened the show. I thought, wow, you got to be a big act to have Bob Dylan open.
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And people were like, get off the stage. hurry."
Because they're all like trying to fairy dance.
They
and
were
stuff to the
dancing
dead.
like that.
Yeah.
What a show.
Wow.
And long.
Oh, really?
I usually don't like long shows, but I got into it, man.
How long was
got
that
into
show?
it.
Like 3 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
long.
a long drum solo.
Was there a bass solo?
It went on, man. There were bass solos. That's when I went to the bathroom.
Then you go get a drink and buy a T-shirt. Yeah. Call back
great.
home and stuff. Yeah.
Even though he's great, though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just bass solos. Who wants to hear a bass solo?
Yeah. When Jerry's standing there, you're like, I don't want a bass solo. I want Jerry to keep going.
Right. Yeah. Bass.
That's great, man. Well, I also want to ask, we've talked a lot about live and a lot
Okay.
about stuff like that. Do you prefer playing live or do you like the session stuff? Like,
No,
what's,
I like
what's the...
playing live.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like sessions. Everything is good. Anything I can do to make a living and also to make music.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love being creative in the studio, but the studio for me is things that you're going to record to go play live. I mean, any artist that's doing great things is going in the studio to make a record, then they go play it usually.
Yeah.
Miles Davis or Prince, or not the Beatles, but although they did in the beginning, but it gives you something to go play. You write it and record it and then go play it, man. You know, we're going to play it now for people.
Different energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
For people in front of you.
Play it. Let's go play.
Yeah, yeah.
One time I got called by Fleetwood Mac. And this is a long now. It's
Throwing these names around.
yeah, that's not on my bio because I didn't officially play with them.
Oh, really, really?
But I had recorded with Mick in the studio, and it was a project. It wasn't Fleetwood Mac. It was something else. He was just playing drums. He's a great drummer too.
Oh, yeah.
And so we did that, and we had a good time. It was bonding, you know, just listening to playback and grooving. And then something happened. John wasn't feeling well. John McVie, the bass player. And I got this call from the manager. I was on a session here in town, down at Studio 21, it was called. I think they closed. And I was in there. Yeah, they definitely closed. It's an apartment complex now.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Really?
Come on.
It's a
Man.
cool little studio.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in there, and we're getting ready to play a track, a tune, a take, you know. And the guy said, "Ready, everybody, ready, 1, 2." And my phone should have been off, but it lit up, and I went, "Oh shoot, that's Fleetwood Mac's manager,
Oh, jeez.
Marty Hom, who I knew was out with Fleetwood Mac."
Yeah.
So I said, "Stop, wait, hold it. Sorry, I got to take this call." You don't do that. You don't do that. But guess what? I did that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I ran outside. I said, "Miss, sorry, guys." I didn't tell them why.
What it was, yeah.
I said, I'll be right back. I went outside. I said, "Marty, hey, man, what's up?" Because, listen, what are you doing? Can you be in Norway tomorrow? I said, "Yes." The answer to every question that you have from this point forward is yes.
Yes.
But I've got to go now. And he said, "Oh, okay." I said, "No, really, I've got to go." But yes, 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 and yes.
Yeah.
And then I went back inside,
That's great.
played this tune that was just this, you know, not a great piece of music, you know, just sat there.
It's a day at work, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, I got to hurry up, man. And then I wanted to go call him back, which I did, and he didn't pick up.
Oh,
Session ended. The guys forgave me. I went back on my way back out to here to Spring Hill where I live.
Yeah.
And I was driving, waiting and watching the phone. You know, like, what's going on? They got someone else.
oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm thinking this.
Okay.
I get home and no call. I'm like, he said he was going to call me back. It's dark now. He said Norway tomorrow. I mean, that's got to leave soon.
Yeah.
You know, and so what I did was I went in those days. There was iTunes, and you know, you go. I don't know if they still do this, but you know, I just started downloading albums on my credit card. You know, like Fleetwood Mac, bam, 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 and they just started roaring through my computer
Yeah.
into my iTunes, and then I went for a walk. Just gonna stretch out a little bit and think. Just like relax, walk through the neighborhood, come home, take a shower, and start packing.
Yeah.
So I'm walking, and the phone lit up, and it was Mick. It was actually Mick Fleetwood, and he said, "You know, I can't do an English accent." David, you know, so we're talking, and then he says, "You know, Norway tomorrow. John's not feeling well." And he said, "But listen, I've got to ask you something. And don't tell me you can do this if you can't."
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and I stopped. I'm like under a street lamp, like, you know, it's dark now, and I'm like leaning against the street lamp, like, well, what? You know, got to get going. You know, I'm going to go fly to Norway and play a show with Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
I don't know the music, you know.
Yeah.
So, but got my shoulders back and my chest out, and I'm ready to, you know, I can do this. He goes, "But can you clone John McVie in 24 hours?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "We're done here." Click. He was gone.
Sheesh.
I went, "Oh." I ran back to the house. The music had come through. I organized it as quickly as I could, threw it in a playlist.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac. And then I went and packed and waited and waited and waited. The phone rang. I was ready to go. My bass was in the case. Everything was packed. I chose the right bass I thought would be good. I was all ready. I had it there by the door because I knew they were going to send a limo over, And that's exactly what happened. I got this call from the manager. Hey, David, I heard you talk to Mick. Everything's cool. It's a go. You're going to be in Norway. You're going to fly. There's a flight out now tonight at 9:45, so you better get moving. Minutes later, a car showed up. I jumped in, and I went to Norway. So when I got there, I hadn't slept at all, or I was burnt, because I was listening to that music so hard. Yeah. Hyper memorization. You know what I'm saying? I was exhausted. And
drilling
it. My brain was like hurt. I had a real bad headache. And I don't think I had eaten much. Although first class had food, I was eating some stuff. But, I was just, for some reason, I had a headache. It was a splitting headache. Yeah. Like a nauseating headache. One of those debilitating migraine headaches. Oh, yeah. And I got there, got in this limo and drove around some winding roads that were like making me nauseous too. And I was just like not feeling it good at all. I got to the hotel. All I wanted to do was take a hot shower and figure out what was happening. You know? And I just powered down some Tylenol. And but as I was walking down the hall to get to my room, I heard, David Santos? Is that David Santos? Was behind me.
Oh, no.
I turned back and I looked. There was a guy I didn't know. And his head was sticking out of a door. And I went, yes? And he goes, come here. And I man, really? Okay. I went there and he goes, hey, man, listen. That's Mick's room right there. I'm Mick's valet. We really want this to stay on the road. This is important. Yeah. I mean, we got like 9 semis out here, and we got about, lighting and stage builders and, crew and band, and it's a big deal to let this go down. We really are counting on you, man.
Whoa. Jeez. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that doesn't make you nervous. I don't know what will.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So he goes, so I just want to hip you to a few things before you go and get going here. I said, okay, well, what is it? He goes, well, Lindsay is tough. Lindsay Buckingham. He's very, very, it matters, everything. And he's very, very pointed about his choices and about what you're playing and all this stuff. So, he may take the bass out of your hand and play something for you to play back at him,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I can handle that.
Yeah.
I said, Stephen Stills was like that.
Yeah.
With Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And no problem. He goes, okay, good. As long as you can handle that, I'm letting you know, just take the high road and be relaxed and everything should be great, man. I said, he patted me on the back, sent me out the door. I went down to, he was Mick's personal valet. I went down, got in the shower. I see the phone lighting up on the thing, in those days. Just got the hot water in the back of my neck. So I dry off. He goes, we got to go now. Let's go. We got to go now. Oh, what? Man. So I jumped in this limo, still with the headache, and went down to the venue, the Enorma Dome, in Norway. And the way it went down was I never played with the band.
What?
I got paid, but I never played. They flew me home.
What happened?
I've talked about this with a few people.
Yeah.
But what happened was I was on stage and guys are like, here, okay, so you're going to walk up the stairs. We're going to put the bass over your right shoulder. And I'm got it. Then you're going to go. Then you walk up to the stage and you walk up to your position and you play. Stevie will walk by and you're going to play a few things. Mick's going to be doing a drum roll and you'll play a couple. And I'm all just explaining the choreography of the show and what's going to happen, So I'm like sweating bullets, but strong. I'm ready.
Yeah.
You gotta be. And I'm ready. And this is really happening, And I remember I was playing this bass line through the PA. Boom, do 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 do. Oh, is that this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, what's it called? The
chain,
chain.
yeah.
Chain, yeah.
Yeah, and it was, tuned down. And I was listening out front. It was roaring out in the system, and it's cool, man. But the band wasn't, the artists weren't there. It was just the band and crew, some sidemen, a bunch of techs. And Mick wasn't there, Stevie, none of them had gotten there yet,
Yeah.
Lindsay. And I'm sweating bullets trying to make this happen, and I'm looking down, I'm writing charts myself on the, I'm writing charts, and I'm, okay. And then I look up, everyone's gone. Stage was bare. Nobody was there. Nobody was out front. The place was black. There was nobody there. I went, what happened? Okay. There were like 15 people running here and thither and there and behind me and in front of me and picking up things and showing me things. They were gone. But I was still live in the room, and I was playing all these different things. And then I wondered what happened. I just kept working on my stuff, and half an hour went by, 45 minutes went by, an hour went by, and still nobody. Then I looked out way at the back of there where the board is. I saw Mick come out, and then the manager came out, and they were waving to me. Put my bass down, ran out there. What's going on, guys? I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
I'm as ready as I can be. Yeah.
We're shutting it down.
No.
I said, why? They said, well, look, it's over, man. We're not doing the gig. And I said, okay, hold on a minute. And Mick was kind of just standing there, like real stoic and kind of teary-eyed a little bit. I said, hey, man, Mick, what was it? My look? Like, what was it? Was it my sound? Like what was it? He was just kind of looking around and not giving me the answer, But I grabbed him by the shirt, my two fingers. He said, "Hey, let's go, man. Let's go play right now. Come on, let's do this. I can do it." He goes, "David, you remember when I asked you 24 hours ago, don't tell me you can do this if you can't?" I said, "Yeah, but I can. I'm here.
Yeah.
Right now. The stage is back there. I'm ready." He goes, "Well, we walked in and we saw you standing there. And, you were standing in front of John's amp and playing through his rig, and it was roaring in the PA, and we heard, his parts. You were playing his parts, and we just realized we can't do it."
Whoa. Whoa.
I said, "Okay, all right, Marty, fly me home right now."
Yeah.
Let's take a nap.
He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna sleep all the way home."
You're kidding.
I want to go home now, like right now. Like fly me from here, limo me to the airport now. I want to go.
Yeah.
Which was immature of me. I should have just relaxed and let it all happen and be what it was. But I just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it went okay. He called me later, talked about it a little bit, not much. I don't know what happened.
Sheesh, man.
That's crazy.
I
This
couldn't
business
imagine
is wild.
doing that.
And they paid me
Yeah, just for the time. Yeah.
handsomely,
Wow.
and I flew home. But, those are the things, these rock and roll stories. There's a lot of them. That Toto thing where you have to hurry up and learn some stuff. And then the thing, one time Tim McGraw and Faith Hill needed a bass player because their bass player, Paul Bushnell, who's a brilliant bass player, plays amazing. His father was not doing well, and he had to take the night off, and it happened fast. And he got the call in Ireland, and he had to go. And they called me to come and do it. And I didn't know that music.
To fly to Ireland?
No, the
okay.
gig was somewhere in upstate New York or something. I think it was. I forgot, but I learned the heck out of it, I tell you that. That was another sweat bullets thing. And I remember I wrote the last note, the very last note of the charts in the dressing room like this. Here's the last note, ready? That's it, dot that, and And the guy walked in. The guy goes, we're taking the walk. We're taking the walk. Literally. And I gathered up the stack of charts, which were like number charts. Like I've got this number charts because I'm going to go to a session in a little while. And I write like number charts. I don't know if you can see these, but these are number charts, right? Yeah. And sometimes I'll write, the notes out. But like, you got to learn to do both. You should learn how to write out number charts because they're very helpful. And you can see the whole tune pretty quickly as opposed to, all the different sections and the notation.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can see the tune as a shape much easier on a number chart.
Yeah.
I think it's a very elegant system. So
you're a big natural numbers guy. Then.
You need to have both.
Yeah.
I write them out both ways, almost every day. Like
really?
Sometimes I'll write out a number chart. Sometimes I'll scratch out a notation chart because the notation can give you the baseline, the figure.
Yeah.
The other is you can get the figure and write it on there too. I write them above the numbers.
Yeah.
You have a number, and then you write your boom, 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 D minor, whatever, 6 minor they call it in Nashville. Instead of the 1 minor, they call it the 6 minor. Yeah. It's just a writing implement. It doesn't necessarily. It's almost counterintuitive. Like they don't write it in the minor key. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
They write a 6 minor, even though you are in D minor.
Minor, yeah.
And you're going to go to an A7. I mean, you're going to go to the 5 chord. Mm-hmm. Which would be a 3/7 in the key of F. If it's D minor. Yeah. These are chord things.
What, really?
These are note things, Martha. This is
see.
music.
I don't do that. I don't do that at all.
You are a musician, not just a drummer. So you need to start learning that.
See,
stuff.
I know basic stuff, but then like when it gets real complicated is where you start to lose me. I know
you'll be fine.
I know numbers and like what they correlate to and keys and all that stuff. But
yeah, I'm sure you.
I can. If you gave me I had to read numbers chart that are not for me before.
Okay.
Like I've had to read piano charts before because it's like that's all we got.
Yeah, it's all I got.
But and when I chart something, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it too. But sometimes if I can, I'll write a number, but I don't do it often. What I usually do is because for me, I just need the sections. I'm like, okay, intro, verse, chorus. Am I in? Am I out? Hopefully, if I'm able to, which I usually am, I'll be able to listen to the song, and I'll put at the top, I'll say song title, and I'll say, this is the groove, just like backbeat 2 and 4, in on verse 2. Like and then okay, I know what I'm doing. And then like if it's like, all right, get big here, big fill, stop, go, like stuff like that, where it's like
you don't write your fill out, you don't write the rhythm.
I don't write specific what I'm gonna do. Unless it is specific, like if the whole band's hitting it, I'm like, and then I'll say 1 and or 2 or whatever, like put the number down. But other than that, if it's a more complicated fill, then I'll like sit down and learn it, and then say just fill, and then I'll know what it is because it's in caps.
That's
or whatever,
the memory I was talking about.
Yeah. Like I'll know, so I'll give myself like little cues in my, but it's all written out. It's like, hey, verse 1, this is what I'm doing. Pre-chorus 1, this is what I'm doing. Chorus 1, this is what I'm doing. If I'm out, just out, whatever, I try to make it super simple. So like if I'm quickly reading, I just say, okay, out, good, or feel, cool. Like it's got to be quick,
That's a good little lesson.
Yeah. What do you do?
Well, I learned everything by ear because the number charts mess me up more than they help me at this point.
Really?
Like we did the Taylor Swift show.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I really like committed to using the charts instead of just trusting my brain. And the amount of times I went to the 5 instead of the 1 and vice versa. Like
I know what you
little
mean.
stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where I learn it, but then I go, well, I'm going to read, even though I know it, I'm going to read it. And then I mess myself up.
A number system related incident.
Exactly. Well, because I'll like learn the song and it's the same 3 chords, and then I go to read it, and then I play a chord I've never played one time while playing it.
Wow.
Because I'm just like, I don't know. It's just the double trying to know if that's right versus what my brain is.
Theory lesson. Yeah. Jesus.
I just need to trust my intuition, and just do what I know.
Write letters. Write the letters.
Yeah, that's what I do. Instead of doing chords or noting, I'll just do like B, D, E, like that. Just because I don't.
Bed.
Yeah. I also, because I play...
BED.
I will also say I am one of those bass players who prefer... I'm always on a 5 if I can. I always play a 5-string.
Okay.
So a lot of times I'll do B up or B down if I'm playing a low B or a high B.
You put a little arrow indicating up or down.
Yeah, if I'm playing like a low D or an open D or whatever, I'll do an up and down for...
That's smart.
That's a good little... I'm learning a lot, fellas.
There you go.
Yeah, what was Taylor like? I worked with her.
Yeah, Taylor.
Oh,
yeah.
we didn't play
nice.
for
Well,
her.
no, we did a
I
Taylor,
wish. That'd be cool.
Almost like a tribute show here where they had a singer come out and do every show, and we were in the house band.
Yeah.
But she came up on stage and played with you?
No, she didn't.
I got
It was a
you.
bunch of
I got-
other
I
like.
got you.
There's other
famous-
prominent
Well, God, we
or
do all that
semi-prominent
stuff. Yeah.
singers in town.
We do all that stuff. Sure.
And it was long. It was like 2.5 hours almost of her music.
Yeah.
With an intermission, but
But every song, not every song, but a lot of times it's like the same bass like part. You know what I mean? A lot of whole notes, a lot of like just falling into breaks and stuff like that. And I don't know. I knew it in my head, and then I'd go to read it, and I would just mess myself up.
yeah.
It's hard to explain. But
No, man. You know what? Do you want to learn to read?
I do, but I like reading in the studio more than live. Because live, I need to be focused on what I'm doing and not trying to read
I know
at
what
the
you
same
mean,
time.
man. I feel
don't
the
know.
same way.
But in the studio, I'm fine to like read the charts and be like, all right, in the bridge, I need to go. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I do know. Vinny Colaiuta is a great drummer, and I heard he's
love
not
Vinny.
he's not doing well.
Really?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he says his career's over.
What?
Jeez.
Yeah.
I love his playing.
Well, he was talking about it, and he said that me too. He said I've recorded with him.
Yeah.
He said he had a neck operation that has gone bad. It didn't work out
You're
right.
kidding. Oh man.
I almost had that operation.
same
I'm glad
neck,
I
yeah.
didn't do it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
C5, 6, and 7. Your hands get numb, and there's like even compromised motion. It's because your brain stem's got these different nerves. Anyway, not to get all neurosurgeon on you, but that's very serious stuff. That those nerves fire your muscles, and if you mess it up, thinking you can fix it, some neurosurgeon says, "Oh, I got it," but he didn't have it.
Yeah.
So your muscles ain't working right. So he can't do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
his
yeah.
hands, his neck, his brain is telling him, "I want to do a paradiddle." And he does some quarter note triplet.
Yeah.
Not a paradiddle.
Drops the sticks.
He
Yeah.
drops the sticks. Phil Collins, same thing, man.
Yeah.
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 So I'm glad I didn't do that surgery.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinny, I love a lot of the Sting stuff that Vinny did.
Me too.
I mean, I've been getting into Sting a lot recently, and it's like just the because even like with the Police, it was good. It was good stuff. I love the Police, but then even when he left, it let him kind of branch out and do his whole thing, and it was cool to see everywhere he went. And then when
Sting?
Vinny, and then when Vinny hopped on, I was like, that combo is
I know.
anything Vinny touches, I think is so cool.
He's great, but he was talking about how in the studio he can still record. He can still
good.
play, but he can't play live. See, this is why I mentioned that. Because live, you can't stop in the middle of a tune and go, "Hey, can we do that again?" You're already, the crowd is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
At least in the studio, you can go, "You know what, man, my hand got numb in the middle of that tune. Can we do it again, guys?"
Yeah.
Exactly.
He said that. It's an interview. You can check it out.
Yeah,
Just type in, Google around for Vinny
Vinny
discussing his neck.
Man. Well,
Anything else you want to know? Anything at all?
This has been
probably
great.
the end, man, dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love hearing all the stories you got. I mean,
There's
this is
a whole
great.
bunch more. Trust me.
Yeah, dude. Hearing the influences that brought you up after hearing you play, like I know it makes total sense. Like because you had that whole R&B and funk inspiration, and then you had the Latin stuff as well. Like all of that, and then who you played for, and I get what they called you, man. It's cool stuff. That's a cool. Now, see, part of me now is like I didn't go like in like hardcore going to James Brown and like I
You
listened
got
to
to.
the Live at the Apollo record for the first time.
Oh,
I was on a flight and just downloaded it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, this is.
Yeah, get the 70s stuff too.
70s,
When it got funky. When Bootsy came in.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me just say this. When I first moved to New York, or even just before moving to New York. That's really where I learned to play. I mean, of course, I learned to play at home, and in Tampa, all those 10 years in the clubs and stuff. But then it was time to move up.
Literally.
Yeah, up north.
Yeah.
When I got there, I had to make a living in New York, right? It's hard, and I didn't have any money, so I had to really stay working. So that's how you get good, playing all the time. But I remember this choice I had to make of a way to approach me being a musician, and it was about blues. Now, there's a lot of things that drove me to that, but I remember one guy told me, he was a bass player. He said, "Move to New York and play the blues." I said, "Should I go to Berkeley? Should I go to MI out in LA? And should I try to get in some college somewhere, learn how to read and like get all that together?" And he said, "No, man, move to New York and play the blues." That was always firing in the back of my head. All of that. I didn't even know what he meant by that. I really didn't. But I do now.
Yeah.
And like. Just that.
Yeah.
And this is like, this guitar feels funny on my leg, right now, but it's like, it's hard to bounce it like the way I'm sitting. But yeah, that, like a lick like that, you could play that for 30 years and never get it right, which I'm just struggling with it right now. And I've been playing it for 60 years.
Yeah.
Right? 50 years. So, yes, the idea of the blues being such a specific thing, it's so like, if you want to play that and really make people feel good, you better, man, work on that. It's not easy. And there's a whole history. There's a lineage. There's a research. An understanding that you haven't learned how to play it yet, bro.
Yeah.
You haven't learned how to play it yet, man.
Yeah.
You're playing the three chords, but you haven't been on the road. Man, I got on the road with this blues band. So much crazy stuff was going on back then, and alcohol and all that stuff that goes along with those guys playing that music and whatever. You're involved in that bar, in the crowd, and the heat, body heat, and making them dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot more than school.
Mm-hmm.
It is school, but it's a whole bunch of other things involved in that school. It's the University of Blues. And man, you got to know stuff, man. Like, where the one is, or like a. Where's one? Anybody know?
Ding. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Don't that feel good?
Yeah.
Just a lick like that?
Yeah.
But you got to put your life into that.
Yeah, man.
You got to put a lot of living in that.
I love that.
That's not going to be something you just play and it's there already. There's a whole bunch of experience and misery and knowledge and happiness and like hand problems and like I'm too drunk to play the gig. Oh, sorry.
Everything.
All of it. Sorry about that. You can bleep that. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That right there is college. That's going to take you a long time, man. You know, to get that's not going to come from scales. Scales will help you get it. You know, chord knowledge will help you get it, but that takes commitment to the blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll tell you a real quick story. Stevie Ray Vaughan wanted to come to New York and do a show. I was at the top of my game back then, and this guy called me up, and he said, "Hey, man, Stevie Ray wants to come and do a thing, or we want Stevie to come and do the thing, and you put the band together." And I called the top New York guys, Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
You know,
Steve Jordan.
guys, you know Steve Jordan?
Yeah. Not personally, but
You know who he is.
Yeah.
These are guys on the street, you know, playing gigs all the time in New York. Blues. Blues, a lot of blues. And he would talk about the blues a lot. We would talk about the blues. And do you know that we were ready to do this? And we didn't know who he was, really. It was kind of like newish in the 80s. And we got a call and said he didn't want to come. He changed his mind. And we were upset, a little, not upset, but we wanted to play with him because, you know, we were passing around recordings. And this guy was burning, man. You heard Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, yeah.
He put his heart and soul into every note, and he was a devotee of the blues, right?
Yeah.
But you know what he said and why he didn't come, and that's why I mentioned this? He said, "Man, I don't want to play in New York, man. Those guys don't know how to play the blues." The guy who knew him, the liaison, told us, imitated him like that.
Yeah.
You know, he's on the phone. He goes, I said, "What? New York really has the blues, man. We got the blues. Try living in New York. Try getting on the subway at 3 o'clock in the morning when it's cold.
Yeah.
And you're scared. It's about who's going to get on the, and you're alone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? And they do get on.
Yeah.
I got on one time. A guy got on the subway. It was like that, 3 a.m. I remember he sat right across from me. There was nobody but me and him, and he sat right there like this.
Just looking at you.
Just right there.
Yeah.
Like make one gesture that I don't like.
Yeah.
If there's anything at all about this moment that I don't like, you're mine, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do something to you.
Oh,
I'm gonna rob you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you go look at the ground. I'm like, geez, look at the time.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
All right.
Yeah.
Dude, David,
What
Thank
a joy.
you so much.
this has
Thank
been
you.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for coming down.
you,
We
man.
like to end our podcast with just a small, subtle, quick thing about whatever you have coming up or anything you want, anything you want to promote, like a social media or website or whatever, and just let our audience know what you got going on. So,
Well,
go for
if
it.
you hear that song Cleanhead, you'll notice I've got 3 albums out that I've never done one single thing to promote, so they don't sell. I have no interest in doing that at all. Except what I did today. I wish I had that. I wish I had that germ. But go to David Santos, Leia Groove Records, or davidsantos.com, and you'll hear 3 records that I wrote every song on, and it was done about 2 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Cool, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well,
That's it.
this has been a Agreement Podcast. Thank you for listening and watching wherever you are.
thank
You can follow me, Massimo DiStefano, Massimo D Music on Instagram, on YouTube, all the good stuff. I forget exactly when this is coming out, but I got some YouTube videos coming out, and so look out for those. The one we just worked on, recorded, is going to be really good. It's
So
gonna
excited.
be really good.
This is awesome, man.
I want to know when this is coming out, but
I'll listen to it.
Brent, I'll send it your way. Brendan,
Okay.
what you got?
BDN8 on Instagram. My new website's up, BrendanAitonMusic.com. And hit me up to mix your music, please. I want to mix. I don't have anything to mix right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
great
I don't
mix
have any-
engineer.
mixer.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to mix right now. So
You'll have that song soon. That'll be
yes.
and
Soon.
then
Yes.
then you're good.
What kind of stuff do you mix?
A lot of stuff. I mean, I do.
You can do anything, to be honest.
Yeah,
Really?
I did metal stuff for a while because I was in a metal band and knew all that. But I do like all of his YouTube channel stuff and a lot of like country acoustic stuff and rock stuff, whatever. Yeah,
I like the sound of what he was doing.
yeah,
Yeah, he did it. He did it, man.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next time. And if you haven't noticed already, we're doing bi-weekly Thursdays. I think I said that last episode. So every other Thursday, new episode. Rest of the season, and we'll catch you not next Thursday.
Week after.
Week after. All right.
Alrighty, peace.
Ciao.
Peace.